All right, we have big breaking news out of Washington tonight as Congressman Matt Gaetz says he has now uncovered documents that show that the Biden administration is trying to use the DHS to become the new Ministry of Truth and shut down dissent on all social media platforms, all under the banner of so-called disinformation. Now, an audit report from the department states, quote, "We recommend the DHS develop a unified strategy to counter disinformation campaigns that appear in social media." Translation, we want to censor conservatives and decide what's true and what's not true. The same people that sold us the Russian disinformation dossier, the same people that said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Those people, remember, it was earlier in the year that the Biden administration faced a major backlash for the so-called disinformation board run by a woman who pushed the lie that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. But we were told that that effort was disbanded. But these documents now appear to suggest otherwise and appear to suggest that the Biden team is now undertaking a more unified approach throughout the entire Department of Homeland Security. Here to explain, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. By the way, his runoff is, I think your primary is on Tuesday. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sean. And it is a feature of fascism, not freedom, when the government tries to control the very nature of truth itself. That's why there was such a strong backlash the first time the Biden government tried to do this. Now we see documents where the Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security is saying the real problem in our federal government is that we aren't using the national security apparatus to control truth, to try to disparage information that might be harmful to the Bidens. And as you said, the largest purveyor of disinformation is oftentimes the national security apparatus of our own government. We saw that with the Russian dossier. We saw that with the phony effort to impeach President Trump over the Ukraine hoax. And then we see it again in the effort to diminish the national security threat of the Hunter Biden laptop. The first family is compromised. Their supporters in Washington know it. And so now they're trying to ratchet up their efforts to be able to limit what our fellow Americans can see and think because they want to control how people behave. We have to expose this again and get the same type of backlash that we saw the first time they tried to do it.
Now, you had this exchange with Matt Olson, who is the Assistant Attorney General, where he wouldn't answer the question if Hunter Biden is a security threat, and where you pressed him really hard on the whereabouts of Hunter's laptop and the investigation.
Do you know where Hunter Biden's laptop is?
Again, I'm not going to talk about any potential ongoing investigation as I sit here.
Do you know where it is?
I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigation.
You come here and you tell us you follow the facts and the law, but you can't even follow a laptop that you guys have had for 3 years. The good news is you're not the only ones with that laptop. So Patrick Ho was convicted of bribing government officials in Africa, and he gave $1 million to Hunter Biden. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not going to speak about any ongoing investigation.
Is that an ongoing investigation?
I'm not going to speak about any potential ongoing investigation.
Don't you see that degrades the country's belief in you guys when you have whistleblowers saying that you're purposefully rat-holing this information, and then you come here and say you won't talk about it?
In light of the raid of Mar-a-Lago, in light of what they did to Roger Stone, in light of what they did to Paul Manafort, in light of what they've done to Peter Navarro, how many years have they had this laptop? And based on, for example, Miranda Devine's book, The Laptop from Hell, don't we know there's evidence of crimes on that laptop? And you took them on in a pretty hard way. And, whatever happened to that?
Going on 3 years, the FBI has had possession of this laptop, and it's not the aberrant personal behavior that's most interesting. It's the Chinese business deals and the expectation that Joe Biden himself will personally profit off of the work that Hunter Biden is doing at the expense of our fellow Americans. Meetings at the Chinese embassy, licenses from the Chinese Communist Party that Hunter couldn't get without the help of his father and the access that the vice presidency provided. Sean, this is a crime spree that we are witnessing in progress. And I think the very reason why the Department of Homeland Security wants to ratchet down on our discourse and our dissent is because they know how vulnerable and compromised the First Family is. And we are watching a crime and parallel a cover-up that is being run by the national security state. The good news is 14 FBI whistleblowers have come forward. They have detailed the political bias at the FBI, and we have all the tools now when we get subpoena power, deposition power, to really go into the bowels of that agency, because there's a lot of swamp left to be drained in the deep state.
You also have this show I would gladly put on any of the whistleblowers. We'll put them in a silhouette. And if they want to tell their story, we'll let them tell their story right here on TV. I mean, after all, I thought Democrats, they love hearsay whistleblowers so much. I would think that they would love a real whistleblower for once. What do you think?
Well, and these whistleblowers say what you say on air often, which is that there are good people in the FBI who are working to protect Americans and those patriots when they observe this political activity, this bias, this favoritism for the Bidens, and this effort to try to destroy Trump at all costs. They're speaking up. And what I think is that once we get the majority and Jim Jordan and I are running these investigations to ground in their entirety, we will have a waterfall of even more whistleblowers, more evidence, and will connect the pain people are feeling to this corrupt government.
All right, Matt Gaetz, District 1 in the Panhandle of Florida. Your primary on Monday. I'm sure you'll do on Tuesday, rather. I'm sure you're going to do very well. We appreciate you being with us.